we could do is go through our list until 1:15, Bill.
Okay.
We've got the minutes for last meeting. Are we set with that, Bill?
Yeah, that's good.
I am too, Colleen, so that's approved.
Okay.
We may have.
There's Lee now. There's Lee
here
now.
now.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. And maybe we can have a quick discussion before Dan Bernash and Bobby come on the plate. At this point, I did go up to look at that system on Chicopee Street. Water table is, models were there. Models were about 4 feet below the bottom of the system. As I recalled, the soil was kind of a jumbled mess. It's not, and it's soil that looked to be 8 minutes an inch kind of soil. I did at the same time, we realized that the system has never been inspected. It was done, the strip was inspected 10 years ago, but I said, as long as I'm there, I should look at this thing and make sure. So I did look at the SAS. I looked at the D-box. I looked at the pump chamber. I looked at the septic tank. Everything was fine. So if we want to make this thing go the way we said we would do it, we would have to approve the new design, which is the old design with a new stamp. And we would have to do it subject to fill. And well, it's going to have, because it's a new house, it's already got the electrical and the conservation. It's got all that stuff anyways, but we would have to subject to fill, which has already gone in according to fill. And then if we approve the permit, then we would have to do the certificate of completion based on my inspection. That would be if we wanted to follow through as a result of the decision we made the last session. What do you guys have to say about it? Lee and Bill.
Lee?
Yeah, by
the way, the state was Lee. By the way, the stakes, the surveying stakes are still up there. So that was done.
Okay. I mean, in my way of thinking, what you did was what I was hoping would occur. So it's fully completed. You were the original guy. And as you just pointed out, everything is in place properly. The stakes are there. So, I'm completely good with the outcome.
Bill, what are your thoughts?
Same thing, Dick. That's good. Let's finish the project. Let's just finish this up.
So if that's the case, what we'll do is we'll approve the new application. It's already, the fee's been paid. There was in effect, what Bob ended up doing is paying the $100, an addition, $100 witness fee for the deep hole. So that was done. So we would have to approve the application subject to fill. It was done before the trench thing, so it would be just subject to fill. So that would be the first one that we would approve the application. So Bill and Lee, you agree that that's what we're going to do?
Yes.
Okay. So then I inspected it, the installation, so we should also approve the certificate of completion. Are we going to do that also?
Yes.
Yes.
And I am too. So that one,
Okay.
Colleen, you can do both of those. So you can issue the permit and sign off on the completion.
Okay.
So now it's not quite quarter past, but Dan and Bob, did you hear that?
I did, yes.
Bob, yeah, Bob did as well. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Okay, so
Hey,
we're done with both of you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening, gents.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
so let's move through. We've got, so Lee, before you came in, we approved the minutes from the June 7th meeting. Next one is timesheet for Colleen. It is a 70-hour timesheet for the 2 weeks, the normal 70 hours. Are we all set with that?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
I
good
am
here.
too, Colleen, so that's approved. The only thing that's gonna happen is I'm not gonna be able to, I don't have the ability to scan, and I'm not gonna be home, so this one you will have to sign my name for.
Okay.
And we'll put it in the minutes that you were doing that.
Okay.
The next, I've got payables the payments to the town, and we've got a total of $865, and we've got $595 for Board of Health permits, $120 for Board of Health licenses, $150 for Board of Health fees, which total the $865 to turn over to the town. Are we set with that?
Yeah, just a comment. I like the way you guys do this. I'm trying to get our Conservation Commission to do the same thing, but we're having a devil of a time to get our finances in order, but I like the way you guys do this.
Well, good.
Comes in very, very efficient.
Colleen does a great job.
Well, you know, the most important part of this is you're getting the check numbers from the participants. Because anyone can say, oh yeah, we got the check, but you got to have the check number to confirm it. See?
Yeah.
It's very, very important. So it's a good way to do this. It really is.
So the next one that I have is bills payable, and we've got Quill for $235.97, which is what we authorized at the last meeting. And Stericycle for medical waste services, $607.84, totaling $843.81. Are we set with that?
Yep. Dick, I'm just curious, where does the medical waste, how does that come in?
Colleen, you know how that happens, right?
Yeah, the sharps can be dropped off at the fire station, or they come in, whatever, how they come into the fire station, and then there's boxes, I believe, at least at the pharmacy. So then Stericycle comes to pick those boxes up and take them to dispose of them. I believe that's what it is.
So what do they charge per sharp? What is it, $10, $20 a sharp?
I think they go by I don't know if it's the weight of the box, or I'm not sure how they.
Okay, yeah, but I can see it's a substantial amount of money, so that's interesting. Okay, anyway, that's good.
That's like all. I believe it's all year. I think we only get.
Okay.
We get in between. We might get a fuel charge for that, but then they send this bill usually in June. So. Yeah.
Okay. You know, just a quick aside. Speaking of fuel charge, Dick, when I first signed up for Waste Management Monday pickup, which is a supplemental trash pickup, my first 3 months at Waste Management was $94 for 3 months. I just wrote them a check for $290.
Wow.
They've gone up a factor of 3 in about 6 years.
Wow. And you can't use the town pickup?
Oh, no, I do. I like to have 2-day-a-week pickup. I just like to get rid of the stuff.
Oh, well,
But I have, me and a few neighbors have supplemental, but boy, the supplemental prices have gone through the roof.
yeah. Huh.
Oh,
We both have to, all three of us have to approve that, that payment. Are we gonna do that?
yes, yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Me too, Colleen, so that's approved unanimously.
Okay.
Next one
Okay.
is a purchase, purchase request for $154.99. Colleen, I'm guessing it's a chair for you. Can you
is.
tell
Well,
us something about the chair? And also, I just wonder, is this a good enough chair?
Well, I don't know, but the chair I'm using was, I don't know whose old chair that was in the little conference room there. So I took it because it's more of the size that I fit to or whatever. But about every 10th time I sit in it, it goes down and my chin is almost on the desk. So it's lost it. It's an old chair. It was thrown out of somebody else's office. So this one, I don't know. I figure it's new, so it must got to be better than the one I'm sitting in. I don't know. And it looks like a smaller type that I would sit in. Because before, like, there was a big chair, and I just couldn't use it. It was just too big.
Like you say, you got to have a comfortable chair. That's very, very important.
It is. It is. Is there a way that you can try this chair out, Colleen?
Well, we just order online things, so I don't know how I would. Yeah.
It might be worthwhile for you to go to Staples or something and sit in some of their chairs and see which one you want, and then have Chris do it with the credit card.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the other commercial is on Conklin's and Hoyok and Appleton.
Yeah. Another one that I've used is Discount Office Furniture on Route 5, right up West Springfield Holyoke line across from the Dunkin' Donuts. I've gotten some really good chairs from there for good prices. Very, very good stuff there. So there's a lot of, but like you say, you got to sit in the chair. You just can't buy a chair online. That's kind of risky.
Yeah.
Well, that might, yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know. Kind of guessing at it by the size, seeing what would kind of fit me.
Right.
Yeah, I would say, Colleen, let's not do this one. Let's have you take some time off during the day and go to some of these places and get the right chair. The other thing to make sure is if we've got a defective chair, you please make sure that it gets destroyed, because that's the kind of stuff that if it were industry and someone got hurt on a chair that's right to be defective,
that's an OSHA problem.
That's an OSHA problem.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
it's like having a broken ladder.
Yep.
Yeah, we did have the maintenance fellow just take because that little conference room was just filled with these old chairs, so we kind of had him take a lot of them out of there. So, but this one that I was sitting in, like I said, I mean it's fine, but yeah, occasionally it goes down, and I'm like, okay, I need a new.
Yeah, and that we laugh, but all of a sudden, if you hit your head, or hurt your back, it's a big deal. So that should be destroyed. So what we'll do is not approve this one, and you make sure that during the next week you find what you want, and by the next meeting, let's get what you want.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Very good.
Okay. Lee, do you go along with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, time well spent. Because you're in that
Okay.
chair, 70 hours a week, roughly. I mean,
That's right.
2 weeks. That's a lot.
We're going to go into something that Bill, this is an approval of water. And it sounds to me, Bill, from what you're finding out, that if the board's going to put any requirements on chain of custody and sampling, that we have to put some kind of regulation in place to be doing this, that we don't have anything behind us to force this.
That's my understanding. In review of private well guidelines, that EPA document that I had sent out, as well as 310 CMR 22, those all essentially, well, other than the private well guidelines, the other two deal with public water supplies. So if we want to opt monitoring and control over private well situations, we have to create our own little regulation, Dick.
Okay.
So I agree. We should do this.
If we're in a spot that we can't be doing this, then we can't. Colleen, could you put this as on our next agenda? Give us 10 minutes to discuss this thing. We can give some thought to what we want to do. And
yeah, clearly we're going to have that advertised, and I'm guessing there'll be people that will show up for discussion on this one, Dick. I'm guessing, which is good, which is fine.
Yeah, Colleen, also, could you find out for us what the regulation on adopting regulations, what it is that we have to do? Because I don't think we do have to advertise, but I don't know that, or we may have to advertise, but we may not have to hold the hearing. But we should understand it. And then, for sure, what Bill had indicated is if we adopt the regulation, then we have to file it properly.
That's right.
So if you could look that stuff up and get it to us, Colleen.
Yeah, okay.
So now we get to the certificate of compliance for, what is it? It's 280 Amherst Street. Now, Colleen, what are we looking for just the well water on this one?
There is a certificate of completion there too, to sign off, and then the water test. So yeah, he needs both to sign off, septic and water for the building department.
Certainly the water test we've been given is a pretty nice looking water test. Lee, have you already inspected this one at 280 Amherst? Well, this is 280 Amherst Road. And
It's Amherst Street.
This is the house on top of the hill, right on the lake.
That's right. Right on the lake. They're doing work there. Yeah, there's a backhoe there doing work today.
okay.
Yeah, that one came before.
Strong construction.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and are you all set with this, Lee?
Yes, I am. Thank you. I did the
So
septic about 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Okay. So are we set to sign off, to have Colleen sign off on water and septic?
Yeah, like you said.
Go ahead, Bill.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Lee. Pardon me.
No. My only question, and maybe I just missed it, was that the water was handled properly.
Well,
I don't know
Lee, that's what Bill was just talking about.
Yeah.
That
I guess contractor did his own water.
Yeah, and it looks like the next meeting we'll discuss. Colleen will get us the regulation or the procedure for adopting a regulation, and next meeting we can discuss adopting a regulation. But what Bill has found out is that we can't just say, hey, that's our policy. We actually have to have a regulation because the state looks like they may have a different policy.
Yeah, again, we got to follow due process. I guess if worse comes to worse, Colleen could call Brian O'Toole, but I believe we have to advertise, hold a public hearing, vote, and then I think we have to wait a period of time, and then we have to file with Bill Galvin's office.
So, but let Colleen find that out, because
Yeah, let her find that out. Maybe they've changed that.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, thank you.
but at this point, it looks like our chain of custody doesn't hold up.
Right.
Okay.
I thought this most recent one did, no? The
Well,
one I sent you today?
well, one is whether they did it.
Boy, the water looks beautiful. This is the best looking water I've seen. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So one is whether they actually followed what we requested, but what I'm talking about is whether we can legally request it. And that's what the next meeting we should talk about. We should understand what it takes to adopt the regulation and then decide whether we want to adopt the regulation.
Right.
So, no
So
sign off?
So, yeah, we are going to sign. We have to sign off on this one.
Oh, you have to, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
the amazing thing, Dick, the iron is way down, the manganese is way down, and the
Yeah.
sodium is down pretty good too.
I know it's just really nice water.
It really is. It really is. Okay.
Oh.
But I agree, that's the way we should proceed. Again, this is a no-brainer, this one, but like you said, we got to follow due process if we want to put a new regulation together for the townsfolk.
So,
Okay.
Lee, are you set with signing off on this one then?
On 280 Amherst Street, I am.
Okay. So on both the water and septic, Colleen, all three of
Okay.
us.
Okay.
The next one we have, it's very interesting. I'm going to digress for just a second. We stayed in Provincetown last week, and they have a hot tub, and I put all new water in their hot tub because I didn't trust walking into some place that had no idea what the water's like.
Mhm.
But they've got water in Provincetown. The Cape has got problems with water, period. But the water in Provincetown comes from wells in Truro. And there's nothing in the water. It's when you start looking at the hardness and because it's just sand, there's nothing, and there's no horizontal movement of water. It's just what comes from rain and onto the ground. And so there's zip for hardness, there's zip for alkalinity, there's nothing in the water. And it is strange because if you look at the water drops on a shower door, they don't leave marks.
I see. Okay, I got you. So it's naturally soft water. You don't need a water softener, obviously.
There's nothing in the water.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
although they must put something in it to maintain the pH high. So when I try to get the pH for the hot tub, that wants to be 7.2 to 7.6. It just wants to be at about 8.2. And no matter, I get it down and it comes right back up. So it's just interesting that.
That water test from 280 Amherst Street, that was, I think, 7.94. That was close to 8. But again, the beauty of that is you don't have to worry about metals going into solution. That's the beauty of having high pH.
That's right. Your pipes don't corrode. This is nice water.
That's right.
This is some of the best water we've seen in town.
Right. You know, realistically, even if you had lead-based solder in your copper pipes with pH of 8, it's not a problem.
Right.
You know, once you get pHs of 5.5 or 6, watch out.
Yeah.
That's right.
So our next one is just a well permit for 81 Pleasant Street. It's not anything to do with water. It's just a well permit. So, and they're drilling, or they did drill the well on in the existing hole. As I like to point out, when we questioned things about that well, and people just saying, no sweat, this well is fine. And I wondered, how are they going to drill this well out? And all of a sudden, whatever that white pipe was, whether it's plastic or, we actually I commented, was there a good seal going into the bedrock? And it looked to me, by the fact that they pulled the pipe right out, there wasn't any seal going into the bedrock.
All I know is I drive by there and there appears to be a 5-inch casing in the 6-inch hole. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It seems they put an inner casing in.
So who knows what's there, but are we okay with it? At least just granting the permit?
Yeah, because I think the next thing they have to do the proof test again. They got to do another water quality sample, and we'll see what happens. Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good with the permit. That's fine.
How about you, Lee?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Colleen, we're set with that.
Okay.
Let me see what the next one is, the recreational camp for McDuffie. Are we set with that one?
Dick, I'm going to recuse on this one because McDuffie's a customer of mine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm
please
good with
note that,
Colleen.
Colleen.
Okay.
Lee, are you okay with this?
Yes, I am, thank you.
Colleen, I am too.
Okay, I'll let Lynn know to go over. She'll have to inspect.
Yep. The next one that we have is an extension on a perk test on Bachelor Street. Now, that's an interesting situation. If we look at our regulations on this, this is a perk test that was done in 2016. So it's 6 years old. I sent out a thing to Colleen today. If we follow our regulations, what this says is that sometime after the first 4 years, we have to go in and do a couple depots, which haven't been done, which could get them out to 8 years, could get them out to 2024, and if they put a design in, it gets them out to 2027. So he has them 11 years on that perk test, but they haven't done the depots. If we follow our regulations say that they don't have a valid perk test right now, but they could do the out of season perk test process, and they could build this whole house. They could get the permit, they can build the house, they can do everything, except they can't finish the septic system until after March 1st. But that would be our current regulation. And my guess is that's probably, it looks like this is all for a sale as compared with a building. And maybe what we should do is ask the buyer or the seller to just talk to us or give me a call. But in all other cases, this is, I just talked to someone I would say 3 weeks ago about a very similar thing, and they were very happy. They said, we can deal with all this.
Yeah, Mr. Joyce, as you know, he's been buying and selling land in town for about 3 or 4 years now. We've had a couple of projects that he's get involved with on conservation. But you're right, Dick. What he does is he secures the permits. He doesn't even build the houses. He secures the permits, then sells the package. He sells the permit package. That's what he does.
So he could actually, with this, he could actually get the septic system design completed. He could pay for the permit. He could get us to sign off. And on the 1st of March, he could go and see where the water table is and be done, have this all done.
Yep. Now, how about if he sells the package, the permit package, prior to having the supplemental soils work done? Would that be permitted?
Yeah, it is. All that happens is it says that you can't construct the septic system until after that deep hole, those 2 deep holes have been done.
Okay.
So we'll sign off if he wanted a building permit. We sign off on the building permit and sign off on the septic permit, other than what it says is that it can't be built until the water table is determined.
Okay.
So it's worked for the banks. It's worked. This thing works fine. The building inspector's good with it. So it doesn't give people troubles, but Colleen, if they want to talk to me, you can just give them my home number and I just tell them that, because this guy's going to have a whole package of permits that's already done. And the only thing that happens, Bill, is that the engineer signs off saying if the water table is higher, it still fits on the property, that the location of the house isn't all messed up. And the owner signs off saying, I understand if I build this house, it's my risk that it's possible that the septic system could be higher than this, but that's all it is. It's just a water table issue.
Mm-hmm.
So are you then extending, you're not really extending this permit?
We're not extending it.
No, okay, but they can do the out of season process, but
Right.
they have to give you a call. They would have to call you.
Well, I suggest that they don't have to, but I
Okay.
suggest that it really will I know that it'll make them feel better to understand the process.
Yeah,
You know, the only downside, Dick, is that if Al Joyce sells this package and then the new owner hires his own engineer to come up with a septic design based on the original PERC data, and then they go and do the supplemental work, and like you say they find it goes up a foot or so, and it changes it from a gravity to a pump system, then they're not going to be happy.
Right, but their engineer ought to be talking them through that.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at this and it was based on models and the water table was lower than the models, then there's not a good chance. The only thing I am starting to see now is some water tables that the physical water table is higher than the model. And I'm reading more about it, and it looks like it's dependent on the rainfall profile.
Right.
But this is not, typically, these aren't designed so closely that someone says, gee, if this water table is 3 inches higher, I'm putting a pump in.
Well, you know, like Bob Caffarelli always says, Connecticut, you can go 1.5 feet. It's 18-inch separation in Connecticut, Dick.
Is that right?
Yeah. So again, if we're at 48-inch separation and we're off 1 foot or even 1.5 feet, oh well, not a big deal.
In Connecticut.
No, in mass. From an operational point of view, at least you have some separation off the water table. That's the
Yeah, but we
point.
don't allow that to happen.
No, you don't want it to happen. You don't, but if someone, say we read either the water table or the models and there's some anomaly and the water table is actually a little bit higher, we have a factor of safety of a couple of feet that's actually built into the system that we know it's there, but we don't really want to talk about it. You see what I mean?
We won't talk about it.
Yeah, in Connecticut though, you got to be very careful because if you have an 18-inch design and you're off a foot and a half, you're in deep
And
trouble.
you're underwater.
That's right. See?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's good. Very good.
Okay, with the question, with this same lot, a realtor sent that email asking about a letter to the bank saying that it's a buildable lot. He said, do you do that or not? So,
I recommend not.
Oh, although if the if the real estate agent puts something in writing to the Board of Health, we could answer a letter that said, according to Title V, this is a buildable lot, but we can't tell where the water table is. But the perk test would indicate it's a buildable lot, and then the elevation is going to have to be determined by the water table. We could do that, but I certainly just sending something out saying, "Do you do that?" is
Dick, we get the same pickle on conservation. They ask us if a lot's a buildable lot. I say hire a wetland specialist and let he or she make that decision.
Yeah, the real issue of this is that whoever the engineer is involved that did this perk test,
Right.
the engineer has the license. He's supposed to be the guy that says, I've done this perk test and it complies with Title V and it's a buildable lot according to Title V.
That's right. Like you say, Mr. Kapinski, I know John. John's a great guy, but John is the one making the call. Let him write the letter to the bank.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Again, we're pulling liability that we really don't need to pull on this one.
In reality, we don't. Bill is right. The guy with the license ought to be the one that's giving the opinion.
okay, got it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and again, and then John can do the septic design and everything will comply, and you have a nice clean chain of custody rather than to have the Board of Health kind of intertwined in this thing.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, they can go all the way to getting the building permit. They can get the septic, other than the fact that we say it's requiring a water table test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you definitely end up with the people with the license giving the opinion.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, and John can reach out to you, Dick, at any time to meet you on site, review data, do some
Yeah.
deep polls, and button this thing up. Again, as you guys have pointed out correctly, with the proper license to work on behalf of the client. Keep us out of the middle.
That's right. That's right.
Colleen, you put two things in here two permits. It looks like my printer died, but you asked for 12 Hubbard Drive, a septic tank replacement, and what was the other one?
Yeah, 122 Amherst Street, a tank and a D-box replacement. Yeah, Neil just dropped these off today, and that's why I emailed it. So, both were just the septic tank and then the tank and D-box for a permit. Yeah.
So they're just a component replacement. Are we, Bill and Lee, are we in a spot that we want to approve those rather than let them wait for 2 more weeks?
Mike. Okay, so I know, Hubbard was a failed Title V.
Oh,
That's where that tank is from.
oh,
And, that's where that tank is bad. House is for sale or will be for sale. And it was 122 Amherst as well?
122 Amherst, yes.
Okay. It's gotta be the same. Gotta be the same scenario. It was a failed Title V.
so this is a failed Title V, not a provisional pass.
Well, yeah, you want to get those rectified ASAP.
But it's interesting, Bill, if it's a failed Title V, and we haven't seen either Title V to see why it's failed.
Right.
We shouldn't be granting these permits because maybe you need a new SAS, maybe you have. These shouldn't be approved until we see the Title V.
Actually, when did they do the repair perks on these?
They wouldn't have.
They didn't do any repair perks.
Well, how can they go for a permit without a repair perk?
Because it's just a component replacement.
Oh, that's right. All right, it's just okay. All right, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
But you
like you said.
we haven't seen the Title V, so we have no idea.
Yeah.
Lee just said both of these failed the Title V, which is not what you'd see. You'd be seeing a provisional pass if
Right.
it's just the tank that's bad.
Right. Right.
So my feeling is, without seeing the Title V's, we should not be approving these.
Yeah, you know, the one at 122, he checks repair or replace the existing SAS instead of repair or replace an existing component. So he checked repair the entire system rather than a component. You're right there. You're absolutely right. Yeah, same thing on both of these.
Did Neil do that one? On 122?
These are both submitted.
Well, who was
As Bill is pointing out, I'm looking at the 12 Hubbard, and it definitely says repair or replace an existing on-site sewage disposal system.
Yeah.
And it's not repair or replace an existing system component. We should not be approving these.
I agree.
Okay.
Not without seeing the Title V.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going in backwards.
Yeah, and especially since he says that it's a whole system that needs to be replaced.
Right.
So, okay, so we're not going to do that. Lee, we've got 2 Title V's, 31 New Ludlow Road by Alan Weiss passes, and 145 Pleasant Street from David Kibbe passes. Are we okay on both of those to receive them?
They're both good. Yes, thank you.
Are you set with that, Bill?
Yes. Yep. Very good.
I am too, Colleen, so both of those can be received.
Okay.
If we look at, let's look at the last ones. The Massachusetts Clean Watershed needs a survey. Colleen, what did we say we were going to do with that?
Well, I answered back there just to say that we received it, and they wanted to know if we needed help with using a consultant or whatever, and for no charge, whatever. So I answered that, sent that in, and then you said just put it on the agenda to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's something that I think is due in like October, but so I don't know what else is involved, but.
Well, as I recall, they talked about, sewage treatment, and my feeling, Bill and Lee, is if someone's offering us, if they said that they wanted this done, and if they're talking about giving us the manpower to get it done, and it doesn't cost anything, why would we not say, our options either are we're going to have to do it ourselves and pay for it, or we're not going to do it, or take their free help.
I'm reading it right now. So US EPA 17th nationwide survey. So it sounds like they do these on a frequent basis. We have until October 30th through the portal. So we do it online. It's an online submittal. Okay, Clean Water State Revolving Fund. So there's a revolving fund attached to this. So like you say, Dick, maybe we can get some of these monies.
Yeah, and if the consultant who knows what's going on is free to us, why would we not take advantage of that?
That's right.
What do you think,
Yep.
Lee? Okay,
Absolutely.
Colleen, so that's what we're doing. We'll take their free consulting and help us with this.
We'll send them down to Dollar General.
Yeah.
Good starting point.
Yeah, well,
Now the next one is Dollar General 4-base. So what is our next step? Is it to get in touch with town council and say, before you got in, Lee, they're saying we definitely have Bill and I think that we've got a design problem here. It's a design and procedural problem, and that having another contractor work on this isn't what fixes this problem. It's fixing the design problem. Do we go to our attorney and say, hey, that's what we believe, how do we go and make sure it happens?
I believe we have to start there.
Is that what
Only
you think,
because I
Bill?
think
I'm just trying to think, what leverage do we have? I guess theoretically, we could rescind their vitulers license. It's kind of a drastic move, but I guess that's the only hammer we have, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm thinking before we do that,
Well, yeah, no, I mean, as the ultimate threat would be to pull their vitulers license. Obviously, we don't want to do that.
right? And my feeling is before we do that, we better make sure that, because it's going to be in court with a big guy, with a big corporation. And I think we ought to get the attorney involved before we.
Yeah, because Dollar General, they'll throw 10 or 20,000 at this, no problem. They'll have attorneys up our what. So yeah, we do have to talk to Brian. Absolutely.
Okay, I will talk to Brian. Colleen, you told me that Brian wanted us to talk to him anyways, so why don't I do that?
Yeah.
So I'll do that when I get back.
Okay.
The next one is Colleen rolling over 35 hours of vacation time. I don't have troubles with that. It's Colleen, what kind of trouble do we get when we do this?
No, there isn't. I just, need you to approve it, or they might say, okay, you can't have the 35 hours next fiscal year. So I'll get my regular vacation time, but then I have some that I can carry over. You can carry over up to 35 hours that I didn't use. So,
are they going to be in a spot that they say, next year, why don't you use up your time so it's not being carried over?
No, I think I think it's okay to just carry it over. But I might use more time anyway this year. I don't know.
Remember years ago, Dick, encumbering money across July 1 has always been a problem, hasn't it?
Yeah, but this apparently is this encumbering, Colleen? Or do they do this a different way?
I'm not sure.
I remember years ago with Betty Fredette, Dick, we used to have to, there was some funny thing that we had to do with our inspection fees if it crossed over from one fiscal year to the next.
Well, it is. In fact, last year what happened is we didn't encumber at all.
Okay,
Which is, I think this is different.
okay.
Yeah, this is different than that. I don't think we have to encumber for this, but
Okay.
Colleen, we ought to be, let's do, I don't have a problem with doing this. Bill and Lee, what do you think?
But that's fine. Again, as long as we don't get in the accounting hot water with Chris and Steve Nally.
Could you at least check on that, Colleen, to just make sure?
yep, sure.
So we're gonna leave it that yes, you can do it unless we cross over into an accounting or, problem.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
Very good.
The next thing, though, is we ought to be sending a note out to the animal inspector and the plumbing inspector saying we're not going to encumber, so they need to get their bills in.
That's right. That's
Now, I think
exactly
they're
right.
given to the middle of August or something, but we ought to be at least letting them know that we're only a couple weeks away from closing the books.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
actually we notice from Chris Martin saying, okay, this is the date I need everything by. I haven't seen that yet, but I will ask the inspectors and Lynn and Fred and Tom Fleabot to put their invoices in. Yeah.
Okay. Our next item is COVID issues. I haven't sent one out lately, but our numbers continue to go down. We're, if you look at the modified, household, where I look at the multiples in a household as a single case, those are now green. They've moved out red and yellow, now they're in green. The straight COVID numbers, 1 for 1, wherever it is, those numbers are coming up. They're yellow, and they're within 1 or 2 cases in 2 weeks of being green. So they're switching. The CDC numbers, which are the 7-day numbers, and look at the fast changing things better. Those are close to 100, which turns them into orange from red. So they're close to turning to a different color. And if you look at the chart, we've got now of pretty steady declining numbers in town.
Only discrepancy there, Dick, is Mass Live issued a news story, I think yesterday or the day before. Hampden County is now red.
Yeah, and if you look at ours, I'll send something out. I can send that out from here. And I just updated it today, and I'll show you what our numbers are. I did look at the state numbers today for positivity, and this is the first time that I've seen a flattening and maybe a little bit of going up in state positivity. And I am concerned that the two new variants could be coming in and biting us.
Yeah, well, it turned out that the lady that does my mother's shopping, she came down with COVID about 10 days ago.
Yeah.
She tested positive, and of course they telephoned me, so I
Yeah.
laid low for 5 days myself.
Yeah,
But boy, there's a lot of cases out there.
yeah,
Believe
and
me.
lots of them that are being seen by not the PCR test,
That's right. That's right.
the antigen test. And the antigen tests never make it to Colleen.
That's the problem. So there's all these people out there that are under the radar.
Yeah.
Now, Colleen, any word on your end regarding the governor and a decision to extend hybrid meetings?
I haven't seen anything. No.
Now,
Mhm.
certainly everything that Colleen got back all said that people were aware that it's happening and they supported extending it. So
Good,
hopefully it's gonna happen.
good. I hope so. I do. I hope so.
And finally, our emails, mails, phone calls, other business, what do we have here?
Let's see. No, can't think of anything. Just a reminder, I will be out of the office, Thursday, Friday, and next Monday. So,
Okay.
Okay. Okay, if that's the case, I'm gonna wish us all a good night.
Okay, Dick. Dick, thank you. Colleen, Lee, good to hear everybody tonight. Good to see everyone tonight. Take care,
Okay, good
everybody.
night, everybody.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.